Hello, world. So I'm still alive. I haven't, like, died or gone into a coma or anything crazy like that. Hold on just a second. Anyway, so I'm not gonna get into details. I've just been kind of sick, and then I'm in school again, so I've been spending a lot of my time worrying about school. I'm, learning to, speak sign language. Anyway, um, but that's not what I'm here for. Now I've decided I'm gonna do another top 10 because I haven't done one in a long time, and I feel that some of this needs to get out and open into the world. So, this first video I've done in a long time. Sorry, my words just got jumbled. Is going to be a top 10 bad video game plots. And it's not going to be always the main plot. Some of it's like little minor subplots. And one of these I've actually gone on a rant before. I have a full video about it, but I just wanted to like bring that one back up to light and tell you where on my scale of bad plots it falls, cuz it's actually pretty high up there for what some people would believe. But okay, without further ado, we're off. And number 10 is Off. It is a RPG Maker style horror game that I honestly wouldn't even call a horror game because I don't understand it. You play as a character called the Batter, who literally is a guy who carries around a bat, and you ghost bust, essentially. You go around fighting ghosts. And the guy who's telling you to do it, who's supposed to be some kind of omnipotent god creature, I guess, is a cat that looks like if you put the Cheshire Cat in one of those Cheshire Cat and then Cheshire Cat on meth kind of posters. And you go around fighting ghosts, and the dialogue is all in English, but the game was actually written in Russian, so all the signs and like the towns and places you go are all in Russian, and I don't know what they mean. And then some of the dialogue is like poorly translated, and some of the things in the game are just weird. Like there are these cows that are made of metal that you have to like go to the farm and get rid of all these ghosts, and these like people like creatures in this game eat metal, and I'm sure the Russians think it's great. I don't get it. I mean, I've still got it on my laptop because I'm trying to give it a chance, but it's just so out there. I don't I don't know. Honestly, on a scale of good games though, I'd rate it like a 2 out of 5. So it's not complete trash. Give it a chance at least. And then the next one is another RPG style horror game. This one's actually a little scary. It's called Mermaid Swamp. I literally almost said the name of a different game. Sorry. It's the Mermaid Swamp, and you play as this girl who went on a like road trip with a bunch of her friends, and they're in the mountains in an evergreen forest in a swamp, and they break down. I didn't know there were swamps in evergreen forests, first and foremost. And this old guy finds you in the middle of the road and says you can come stay in my mansion because I'm going to town, and then he never comes back. And you get like one of your friends swells up worse than Aunt Marge in Harry Potter, like bigger than her, and her eyes puff out and her tongue gets swollen and all this crazy crap. I'm not gonna go much into details about the game other than that. I mean, it's a good game. The plot's just really weird, and there's a bunch of different endings, and some of them don't quite seem like bad endings, even though they're supposed to be. So it's like, what am I really aiming for? And like the real good ending doesn't. It just, I didn't like it. So okay. Next is, I know everybody on this planet is gonna come and kill me for saying this, but it is parts of The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. I love the game. Definitely one of my favorite Zelda games of all time. But I just, okay, I didn't like the bird creature things. I mean, I love the Gorons. My favorite race in the whole game, still to this day, is probably the Zoras. But and then there's another one. There are no Zoras. No, there's like a complete lack of the third race, and in the second race, to be completely honest, there's four Gorons in the whole game, and then there's one Zora. There are the Kokoris, but they have all been turned into little like stump creatures. And then there's the new race, and the new race is cool. They're okay, but they're it's just not the same. And then starting out in the fire temple instead of being in the grass temple is weird. I will say this much, I did appreciate the lack of water temple in that game though. Nobody ever likes the water temple. It's the thing to avoid or the thing to get done first so you don't have to do the rest of it. But the lack of the classic species and races kind of bothered me. Like, even if they aren't a primary part of the game, they could at least be mentioned more. I mean, I liked the main plot with Zelda actually. Spoiler alert: Zelda's a pirate. She's been hidden as this pirate for her entire life, and her father is secretly Link's boat, but or it's like her great grandfather or some crap. I think it's supposed to be her dad though, so I'm not 100% positive. But the main plot with Zelda being Tetra was actually pretty cool, and I liked that angle that they went with that, and I like the game in general. I just the lack of the classic races was it just kind of threw me off a little bit, I guess. So next is a RPG horror game called Ao Oni. It I haven't essentially figured out the whole game, and it's because I keep getting killed by the monster in the game, and I can't progress any further. You you play as this kid who went with a group of his friends and snuck into this old mansion that is haunted by a monster. A giant blue monster that chases you, and when it gets you, you die. I mean, it doesn't show any details, but you're just dead. And it's a classic like chase game where eventually, after you've ran so far, it doesn't follow you anymore. And there are certain places that'll always follow you if you do certain things in a certain order. But you go into this house with a bunch of your friends, and then your friends just disappear. And I can't tell if the goal of the game is to find your friends or to get rid of the monster yet. And that's probably because I haven't made it to the ending. But I don't know, because if it were me, I would leave and go call the police. I wouldn't stick around. I'd leave, I'd call the police, and then I'd go back with the police. So, I don't know. Next is one I've gone into before. It is the Ramirez Emperor Galcian subplot in Skies of Arcadia. I'm just gonna leave it at the fact that Ramirez was brainwashed, so many people shouldn't hate him like they do. And I feel like they shouldn't have killed his character off. I feel like he had redeeming qualities that could have potentially put him in a sequel if they end up ever making one. P.S. to the people who made that game, if you ever see this, we want a sequel. We are desperate. I'm a part of a million groups on Facebook that want this game. It needs to happen. We're getting impatient. Enough said. Next is Misao. It is, or Misao, or Masao, or there's tons of ways to say it. It's supposed to be Japanese. It might actually be Japanese, I'm not positive though. Sorry, my clock is loud. Anyway, so in Misao, you play as this girl or this guy, like if you get through the entire game the first time, you unlock a male character. And you play as this girl who is kind of friends with this other girl who was picked on, and then she suddenly ends up missing. And the school you go to is sucked into a different world, and a demon and his cohort tell you have to find her missing body parts and set her spirit free in order to free the school. the part of the plot that I didn't like is that the girl is a jerk. Like, she was gonna save somebody who was kind of a bully, but she was gonna save her anyway. And then when she ended up dying, the girl's like, whoops. It's like, feel bad at least. I know she was a jerk, but still, feel a little bad. And then, with the boy is very timid. The male playable character is very timid. And there's a moment where you get taken over by the spirit of the girl character, who is like in an alternate universe with this whole thing going on at the same exact time. And it's because you're supposed to kill somebody in order to free her spirit, free Misao's spirit, and the boy just can't go through with it, so the girl takes over and does it for him. And I didn't like that. I feel like they should have come up with a different way to make that work, because that was just, I feel like that was copping out a little bit. Instead of going, oh, let's write a different storyline, it's like, nope, we'll just do it this way. It saves time. Next, I am not going to go into details with this next one because I can't. I had a bad experience involving this game, and I'm also going to warn people, do not play this game. Next is the downloadable game for the PC and the Mac. It's Slender. I'm German, and that is where the Tall Man legends come from. And I played the game too much, and things started happening to me. Like, things would move in my house, and I was stupid enough to challenge them even more with board. I'm sure you know what I mean. And I brought something in. I essentially let it in and made my life worse. But the thing I don't like about the game is that even if you succeed, you still fail because you still end up dying. And that's no fun. I mean, that's a good, like, ambiguous ending for a movie, but not for a video game. It's like, give me something to feel triumphant about, you know? Not, oh, you win, so you die. Yeah, and I'm also gonna say don't play that game. Don't meddle in those kinds of things. And if things start to happen, if you do risk it, don't tamper in it further. It's not gonna help you. It's gonna make your life worse. Next is the Goonies video game. The Goonies 2 video game for the Nintendo Entertainment System, the classic NES. I didn't get it. The Fratellis, or whatever their name was, the villains from the movie, have broken out of jail and kidnapped the girl that both Bran and Mikey both liked, Andy. And then they don't call her the same name, they call her Annie. But they say it's the same girl. And like I like some of the weapons in the game. Like, you play as Data for part of it, and I'm sure you can figure out what that's like. But yeah, it just, I feel like they could have come up with a new villain or something. Send the Goonies on a brand new adventure and not just repeat the film, basically. Okay, next is a game that doesn't really have much of a plot. It is Little Big Planet. And there is a storyline to Little Big Planet. A lot of people think it's just a level creating by, like, creating your own level and playing kind of game. But there is a story mode for Little Big Planet. And, my question is why? All these things keep happening, the sack boy keeps encountering, and it's like, I could help you, but why? I don't know you. I don't want to help you. I could be a jerk. I could be like, oh, your husband, your fiance who left you at the altar ran away. That's great. I don't care. I know that's a little harsh, but some people are like that, and it's like, who cares? But you have to play through the story to get some of the costumes for your sack person. So you so you don't have a choice, and like you have to play through a bunch of really crap levels to get to the ninja costume. And I mean, it was worth it by the time that I got mine, but I didn't like the plot really, because it's like, why bother? So okay, and then number 1, the worst video game plot I have ever heard in my life is for the RPG horror game The Mirror Lied. Okay, this freaking game barely counts as a game, for one thing. You play as this little girl who must have schizophrenia or something, because she just wakes up in this house one day that has no doors leading on the outside and you can't get out the windows. And she goes down out of this bedroom in this house and keeps getting phone calls on this phone from this person. First they're claiming they are a bird, and then they're saying that you need to beat the bird, or you need to do something before the bird does something, or all this craziness. And then there's this plant that you have to keep watering and watering and watering. And like there's a microscope with a sample that eventually the sample gets bigger and spreads and then just disappears. And there's a map on the wall in the same room that after every so many phone calls and so many emails you get, the continents on the map disappear until there's nothing left. And then you get the final call from the bird itself or something. I don't know. I don't know who it's supposed to be. And you have a gun that you find in this house, and you're like this little girl. She can't be any more than 13. And there's one bullet left in the gun. So you go upstairs, up this plant, like climb it up Rapunzel style, or not Rapunzel, Jack and the Beanstalk style. I guess kind of Rapunzel-esque too, because you're climbing up to a window, hanging from something. But you climb up to this window that's been broken in the ceiling, and you're on the roof of this building, and you hold up your arms, and you get picked up by this bird, and that it took over the minute you started climbing, basically, to where it's a cutscene. And you get picked up by this bird, and then it pans away, the gun goes off, and the next thing you see is the bird, the girl is gone, and then it's over. Everything in the house slowly starts to disappear, and the game's just over. What? Even just thinking about it gives me a headache. Because it's like, what was the point? You get a bunch of emails that say you have to stop this bird, and you have to feed this plant, and water this plant, and get the bugs off of it. And then, like, there's one point in the game where the house catches fire, and everything is, like, burning up around you, and you get a phone call. Like, the fire doesn't hurt you, but everything's on fire. And you get a phone call that says, sleep it off, you'll be fine. And the only thing you can do to progress further in the game is go upstairs and go to bed, while everything in the house is on fire. And then after you've woken up, your bed is in the middle of the dining room table downstairs. And everything in the house is fine. Except for, like, the giant hole in your floor. But, and the bed being on the table. But, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. And you know, it's not even, like, one of those, like, hi, you have to be, like, really intelligent to get the ending kind of endings, because it seems almost like her schizophrenia killed her, but I don't know. I didn't get it. I don't understand the point. What was the point? And there are some things in the game that you can do that don't make any sense and don't really do anything. Like, you can carry a teddy bear around throughout the entire game until you have to climb the plant. And, then you can change your clothes and wear a different color dress. but it seems like no matter what you wear or no matter what you do with the bear, or whether you have the music box that has the game music playing the entire time or not, the ending doesn't change. It always ends the same. So I just don't understand. And that's my list. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I will be back soon. I guess I need to think up a life advice for this, and I'm probably gonna do that on a separate video and then put them together, because this is literally running on 20 minutes now. So okay, so my life advice for the I guess I have two for the evening, morning, wherever you are. I guess it's I can't tell if it's 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock because it's daylight savings time here, and the clock on the wall hasn't changed, but the clock on the computer has. So I don't know, but number one, don't play Slender. Not worth it. It is not worth it. I mean, sure, the game is good for a good jump scare, but there are tons of other games with jump scares in them. It's not worth your soul. Trust me. I was actually physically attacked in my house by something. To this day, I don't know what it was. But I have sea salt on every single window and door in my house now. And I've had, like, there's just... It's just not worth it. It's not worth your sanity. Like, it caused a serious, like, rupture in my family. Like, me and my dad had difficulty getting along to the point that I actually left and wouldn't come home for a while because I just couldn't deal with what it was doing to us. And it attacked my stepmom and my dad. But it's just not worth it at all. Don't bother. The other one is that all of these other 9 games, like with the exception of the Mirror Light, I guess that the first 8, not including number 4, are definitely worth it, and I would look them up. A few of them are downloadable onto the computer, like I believe a few of them are Mac and PC compatible, and then I think a few might only be PC, but they're good. And then Skies of Arcadia and Wind Waker were the only ones I had that were platform system style games. I can't think of what the word, console games, there we go. And they're good. I definitely try to get my hands on them. They're very expensive because they're very old, very classic games, and they're not being made any longer. Like, they put out a new version of Wind Waker, or they are going to, that's 3D, but, or HD or something, but the classic is very expensive and very hard to come by. Like, I just got mine refurbished and everything, and that was a $3 investment, but was a good investment. So, like, there's still a giant scratch on it that the machine no longer reads the scratch. Like, it plays perfectly fine. It's a little slow in places because it's been refurbished, but yeah, it's a good game, and it's definitely a wise investment if you get scratches or smudges on your games, or like your unwashable fingerprints. Just vintage stock will, in Kansas and Missouri anyway, they will refurbish your games or your DVDs or your CDs for $3. And it is a very wise investment. I don't know how much it is in other states, but it's worth it. So